My name is Chris Benka, born and raised on Molokai. The night of the fire, I was watching the news and saw a lot of footage. And it wasn't until the internet footage started coming in at about 1 o'clock in the morning that I saw people basically jumping in the water, running away from the fires. I thought to myself that I've got a lot of good friends and family that live there, and some of them live on the boats. I couldn't sleep the whole night. The next morning I woke up, I told my wife, I gotta go. I packed up and I head out. I got some supplies, whatever I could grab, water, food. I headed over there to help with whatever was gonna go on. And when I showed up, it was horrific. It was terrifying. It put me back. I sat down, I cried for a while. When I pulled up, the town was still on fire. The response from the state, DLNR, was non-present in the water. My first priority was to get there and help with whatever I could help with. My second priority, I put out on the internet that if there were any families in need of getting off Maui and coming back to Molokai, I set a date and time and place, and you meet me there, I'll get you home. The people that I did bring home said that they had a hard time with the internet, so my message wasn't received by all. The second day, I told my wife, put out the word, I'm coming back again. And this time I was gonna go outside of the zone to Oluwalus, where they had set up the roadblock, and bring people back from there. And when I got there that day, I brought home a few people, and I took back a few tourists to their hotels. They were trapped, they couldn't get back in. They wanted to go home because a lot of the hotels in Wailea were gouging. They were paying like $700 a night. This guy was so cool that he took in 2 families with him. He put 9 people in the room with him. I had no problem taking him back to his hotel, getting him going. I also took in supplies for people. What I couldn't understand is that why did we have to bring supplies with the boats? Why did we have to transport supplies from Ma'alaya to Kahana by boat when everything was on trucks waiting at the roadblock to get in? When we delivered the next day, that night, I get a call from my friend Kamaili Alkan. He tells me he's got 9 pallets of food to go to the Kahana. So we took over 9 pallets of food, water, supplies. Where was the county? Where was the state? Where was the Red Cross? There was no aid for the people there. First day, second day, third day, nobody shows up. I'm still running supplies in. By the 4th day, they open up the road. I come home, I say, great. And at the same time, they shut the road down again, stopping supplies from coming in. I heard a story about a person that they loaded up the containers, and containers of food and supplies did reach Lahaina by the 2nd day, I think it was. But somehow, the Red Cross put a stop on it. So the containers were just sitting there at a hotel in Ka'anapali. The guy who found out put it out on the internet and told the people there, hey, you suffering, go get it. Don't wait, go get it. So I guess that's how some of the looting started, but it's understandable. Molokai, we're all about action. More action, less words. Politicians, more about words than action. Sometimes too much education, you lose common sense along the way, and it's true. Common sense tell you at the roadblock, cars showing up, trucks showing up, loaded down with supplies. Common sense tell you, let them through. Give them an escort, let them through. But nope, they stopped everything, bruh. So for 4 days, bruh, no food, no water, no supplies, no help. All they wanted you to do was leave. But as you know, in disaster areas, when they come in and they want you to leave, you go to a shelter. FEMA, Red Cross comes in, helps you, gives you money, and you move on. People never return back. So a lot of the Hawaiians don't want to leave, bro. They don't want to leave. They know what's going to happen. Big money, real estate, going to come in, offer them money. They'll never come back. Some days I did up to 2 boat trips, but most of them I just stayed there and helped along the way, shuttling food and supplies from Ma'alaya, where they had the roadblock, into Kahana, into the danger zone. Yes, it was all out of my own pocket. I'm not even worried about being paid back or anything. I'll go as long as I could. And then my wife I put it out there that, you know, I can do more if people help me with gas. And a lot of people started donating money for gas. And some people from the mainland, I never even know, just donated. So that was awesome. It was local people with family and friends in Lahaina that banded together. Kamaili Alkan, the Mana'e boys. Big shout out to the Mana'e boys, bro. We seen Friendly Market donate. Everybody just pulled together because a lot of friends and family, all in Lahaina. All I want to say about donations, if you guys want to donate, don't donate to the Red Cross. Don't donate to organizations out there that think they're going to help. Donate to the local people there. There are people there that are starting their own shelters and taking care of the people there. If you want to see your money go to the people of Lahaina, the Hawaiians, the locals, and not to some politician's pocket, donate to the grassroots foundations of Lahaina.
$600, 6 Whoever took that jab, you got the chip.
Prestação nesse braço aqui. Ali tá a luz negra. Tá? Então vamos lá, ó. Esse braço aqui. E a luz negra ali. Agora eu vou chegar aqui, ó.
Look at this shit, y'all.
Aqui, ó. Aqui onde eu também
So the things lighting up like electricity. Look at this shit. This nigga turned into Thanos. Look at this.
Meu braço
Look. Right where he took the jab, it turned into a chip. You see that? See that square box? Right where he took it. See the chip? Wow.
Vou sair, ó.
President before George Washington 1730 to 1799 AD. John Hanson was the first black president, and John Hanson was a Moor, aka Black, and John Hanson is located on the back of the $2 bill.
See, what a lot of people don't understand is the circus. And I want to explain how America built history and entertainment at the same time and intertwined them. So, first of all, I want to check Mr. Umar Johnson. I want to say, do you know who that is, brother? No, you don't. That's Nate fucking Salisbury. See, Nate Salisbury was working in historical programming, and historical and educational programming. And he got with Buffalo Bill Cody, who had one of the biggest circuses besides Pawnee Bill, you know, with all the Indian Native Americans in there, entertainment. Yeah, dressed up, dancing. You know, shit like this that nobody takes a look at. This was historical and educational programming that will stage America history behind post-Civil War slavery. But they would exclude the Asians and the whites from their slave story here in America. And they would make our story, they would make us the number one character. Now, they also had John Brown, Frederick Douglass, and all the Boule Negroes working together to try to pull colored people into the circus. Yeah, John Brown, he was white though. He was working on the Underground Railroad. He was a conductor. Why were they all working to try to pull this together? I just want to hint on this story. And that's exactly what it is. A story with no evidence and no proof. When you see these stories, this was staged in Black America. This person's stage name is Harriet Tubman. But her real name is Armina Minty Ross. And she was an actor. Yeah, this was all an act. Everything you've been told is an act. Yes, that's why she has two names. That's why she never died in the hands of any white people and she stole all their merch. That's why she died in 1913 and the circus started in the 1800s. So she was in the 1600s saving slaves? We are confused on time, historical things, and a lot of this shit is fictional. But it has played in our history, and they have basically programmed us to believing this is true. Well, I challenge you. I challenge you to look into the circus. I challenge you to look up Nate Salisbury. I challenge you to look up how the Underground Railroad was a non-for-profit organization and how John Brown was a conductor working with the circus. Black America.
Y'all ever hear about the deceased enslaved coachman who still thinks he's on the job to this day? Get your popcorn. On today's episode of plantations that should have been burnt to the damn ground but are now used as bed and breakfasts, event centers, and wedding venues, we have the Nottoway Plantation in White Castle, Louisiana, right off the Mississippi River. This place is massive, y'all. It is actually the largest standing plantation to date. It's 53,000 square feet, has 64 bedrooms, 12 hand-carved fireplaces, amongst a whole bunch of other stuff. It is really huge. A lot of people do stay here because it is a bed and breakfast as well, but this is a very hot spot for weddings. To be honest, this is probably the most breathtaking plantation I've ever seen in my life, y'all. Who would ever want to be married in a plantation? I don't know, but it happens. That's beautiful. That's really nice. Sensational. But like all plantations, this place has a wicked, evil past that has left a lot of souls behind, and the spirits pay reparation. The story starts out with John and Emily Randolph purchasing this plantation. Both of these people were very, very big socialites. They came for money. John's father, who was a senior, was appointed the federal judgeship of Mississippi by President James Monroe. It's not a lot of information on Emily's people other than her father gifted the couple 20 slaves and $20,000 as a wedding gift, which in today's currency is a lot of money. The plantation was to basically set roots and put their family, especially their kids, out into society. Now, initially, Emily's daddy wanted John to run a cotton farm, but John thought that it was oversaturated and decided to harvest sugarcane instead. So when they purchased Nottoway Plantation, they had 5,200 acres and 155 slaves to cater to those said acres. But these people were experiencing spiritual reparations far before the place was even reported haunted. During this time, America was in a civil war, and John pledged his finances, a bunch of money, and his firstborn son to the Confederacy. He actually had all three of his sons fight in the war, but only one was killed, and that was the first son, which we know back then was the golden child, your heir. So this crushed John, but that didn't move him to treat his slaves well. Lynchings, beatings, grapings, unaliving, buck breaking, all of that was a normal, common thing at this plantation. This house remained with them up until 1889 after John's death, and Emily sold it. And for a time, it had deteriorated and almost was nothing, which would have served it right, but then someone bought it. We'll get to that later. Ghost number 1, the coachman. So if you don't know what a coachman is, it is the man that is driving the horse and carriage. And John had a very loyal coachman. To this day, people see this coachman at the gates waiting with the horse and carriage and everything, except there are no horses or carriages on this property. They hear the horses galloping in the middle of the night. They hear the wheels turning on the pavement. They hear the bell. This man shows up at least a couple nights a week. Guests, staff, everyone that steps foot on here has reported seeing him. Ghost number 2. The carriage house is haunted by a little slave girl. No one has the details on this little girl, but it's assumed that she was either lynched or died in a very, very slavish way. The little girl was reported to die over 150 years ago, but they see her playing in the carriage house. They've built a parking lot for their events, and they see her in the parking lot. There's also said to be security footage with her clear as day, skipping around the property, playing, acting as if she were still alive, like she doesn't even realize that she's not. But of course they'll never let us see that, because this is a major moneymaker for whoever owns it now. And who wants to have their wedding at a place that is full of black spirits? But she spooks security on a regular basis to the point that some of them have resigned. This is room 14 and ghost number 3. Remember earlier I told you guys someone bought this property. Well, in 1980, a lady named Odessa Owens purchased the property and turned it into what it is today. She eventually sold, but it was only under one condition: if the new owners would allow her to die in this room. And they did. But it's said that she never left. She never checked out. Several brides, grooms, groomsmen, bridesmaids, staff, housekeeping have reported seeing a full apparition of Miss Odessa in this room. One housekeeper came out of the bathroom in this room in the ensuite and seen a full body apparition sitting at the edge of the bed. She stood up and she dissipated into air. It scared her so much she quit. But there's also another spirit that occupies this room that they know is not Odessa. Whoever it is, they have taken a liking to women with long hair, and they love to play in their hair or touch the back of their neck or run their hands up the back of their neck into the back of their head. And it doesn't matter if you're in the shower, sitting down, like laying down, whatever the spirit is has a thing for women with long hair. So much so, a bride was staying in this suite and decided by morning she was not getting married there. People have also reported looking in that mirror and in the back of them, they see an apparition of a woman. All in all, this place is haunted as hell, and I don't know one sane person with moral compass that would ever want to get married at a plantation. Because if I know spirit the way I think I know spirit, spirit is petty. I'd actually like to know the divorce rate of couples that get married on plantations, especially this one. But whatever. All in all, the story of Nottoway Plantation and its hauntings make me really sad for my enslaved people, because they are still working and moving along this property as if they don't understand that they're not alive anymore. It's almost like purgatory. And then this place is right off the Mississippi River, which is its own video and spiritual hub in itself. Like, why would you ever want to start your life with your significant other here? It's the brazen weirdness and low-key disrespect for me, but y'all do you. So if you ever want to fuck around and find out, you can get married at the Nottoway Plantation. Do good and be good.
It's not actually the North Pole. The North Pole's been sailed every year for 30 years. It's off from the North Pole several hundred miles. This is in a region that's never been sailed before. It's between the magnetic North Pole and the actual North Pole. The waters are reported to be the roughest on the planet, so we're talking 10-story seas. This is not going to be a pleasure cruise by any stretch of the imagination. We'll be breaking ice for 8 days to get there, so it's not an easy place to get to.
911, the address of your emergency. Tell me exactly what's happened.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. We know there's been problems at this neighbor's house. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty. And he asked us to call the police.
What's
so he's very afraid. This kid has obviously been... I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds. He escaped.
Well, I'm glad that he was able to make it to
We're on their way.
He could be safe.
Jody Hildebrand is up there right now.
Okay.
So she may come looking for him here soon, but she's not gonna, obviously. I think we need the cops here as soon as possible.
911, yeah.